A very full week this week. Monday, I spent travelling down from Edinburgh back to our workshop in Suffolk. Was at shade under 700 kilometres, and I got home, I think I was home before 5 p.m. actually, in Gareth's car that we've been rallying on the RAC in. Last week, Emma picked up the cylinder head for Chris's car. This is the car that's out on the Land's End John O'Groats, along with his navigator David. And we were trying to chase an oil consumption problem here. The conclusion from Scholar was that arguably the guides and valves, if you squinted very much, could be said to be out of spec. Not really though. And anyway, we replaced all those, and they modified this being a B18 head to have valve stem oil seals. The bottom end we'd already checked out, there was no leak down, compressions were perfect. So that went back on Tuesday, that cylinder head, and set up the ignition timing, and I discovered that somebody had set the ignition timing to 30 degrees advance. Now, I'm actually surprised my engine survived that. I wouldn't have expected it to. So whoever had done that was making a mistake. And you can see my original timing mark at 17 degrees on the pulley. So somebody's been in here and messed around with that. And certainly 30 degrees advance, I can see that having a serious amount of blow through past the piston rings is my guess. It certainly will have a significant effect. And then I went to set up the carburetors and found that the rear carburetor was about half a mil, the jet was half a mil higher than the front carburetor, i.e. the rear carburetor was running really pretty lean. So we put the lambda back on it, evened up the jets, took it out, riched it up 6 flats because it really was running too lean, and the car feels lovely. So I think I'll have a good run out there in this. The car feels lovely. It's got a new Spicer axle replacing the ENV he had. That's just so sweet. We've done very well there to find an axle that lovely. And it's got a Quaife ATB in it as well. So that was a very busy Tuesday and Wednesday, getting that ready to go. What else have we done? 2 other cars. I can hear one of the Britneys getting a bit anxious, so let's just let him out. Lee, hush. Come on, boys. Come. There we go. So, next was the 164, wasn't it, Emma?
Yes.
And the 164, all we're doing now, so we've got it running really nicely. All we're doing now is trying to get the 2 gauges to work, the oil, the fuel level and the temperature, both of which I think are appearing to read low. So it's going to now be a matter of me filling it up with fuel such that we can see what the fuel gauge is saying, and I'm hoping that's going to tell me it's reading low even when the tank is full. And if that's the case, then I just need to wind the voltage regulator up a little bit to bring both those needles up to where they should be sensibly. So that's all we've got to do left on that, which is lovely. Okay, Chris's car you heard about last week. Yeah, we've done that. All that work is done. New set of carburetors that Chris has presented us with. And of course, Gareth's car. So this is the car that looked after us so grandly on the RAC rally, and that I drove up to Leeds last Wednesday and drove back from Edinburgh on Monday, and served us terrifically well on the RAC rally. As I'm sure you might have seen, that we've been delighted with our result. It came back here primarily for a steering box rebuild. I say a steering box rebuild, it's primarily the seals. I have still got a very small stock of bearings, and Emma even found one of the bearing cups which haven't been available for 10 years. And even when we bought those, they were like £100 each, fearsomely expensive. But luckily, bearings and cups, beautiful on Gareth's car. It was just the seals that had let go, and that's all done.
And you gave it a wash, Rob.
Oh, I gave it a distinct steam clean. And then, as my final task today, after I did the steering box, because we chewed up some oil on the way home, I did a compression check. Number one cylinder, 10% down. So we've got 9.5 bar, 11.5, 11.5, 11.0. Best to worst is 10% down, which is, we would want to keep an eye on that at 10%. At 20%, it's a no-brainer. You rebuild the engine. If you've got the best to the worst cylinder compression is 20% apart, then you know you've got to rebuild the engine. 10%, I'm not sure. So I'll present Gareth with my findings, and we can discuss what to do about that. So, what does that leave me with? What's in the offing? Over here, we can't remember why we took the head off this. It was all to do with tracing down the 142's cylinder gasket problems, but I can't remember quite what. But I took the opportunity then to modify, because the radiator in this car is lower than the cylinder head, I have taken the opportunity to modify the expansion bottle line so it comes out of the top of the stat housing instead of the side. And I'm hoping that will allow us to set up the, to bleed the cooling system much better than we have done in the past. So yeah, I ought to get that fixed. What else is coming next week, Emma?
P1800. Ed's P1800.
Oh gosh, yes. So this P1800, come on down. So Ed has been working on his P1800 for years and stores it here, and he just wants me to mobilise the engine. And so that's what we'll do. So here's Ed's car. We built the engine some years ago, and as I say, the task now is to set up the cooling, fire up, mobilise the engine, and then Ed can take it away and start building up all the ancillary side of things. So yes, that will be very satisfying to get that done next week. It would be nice to see that actually mobile. So yeah, good. Pleased about that. Well, that's it. Yeah, that's it for this week. That's quite enough as well. Thank you very much. I hope many of you might have enjoyed my attempts at what do they call it in the BBC? Remote location or something, filming on the RAC around northern England and Scotland. That was quite entertaining for me to try and get that sorted. So, thank you very much. That's this week's news. We'll talk to you next week.